Welcome into your PFF prospect profile. It's all about Lamar Jackson today, the quarterback from Louisville. Not a wide receiver, Sam. I don't want to hear it. He's not moving to wide receiver. The phrase we keep using with Lamar Jackson, he's not a perfect quarterback prospect, but there's a path to success for him at the next level.
Yeah, we have to quantify what Lamar Jackson is, and that is a flawed passing prospect. He is, again, not the most accurate quarterback prospect available in this draft, and that is a problem. It's something you need to acknowledge and accept. There are definitely plays where he does all of the NFL things you want to see. There are plays where he's incredibly accurate. There are plays where he works through his progression, where he does everything you want to see from an NFL quarterback. It's a case of identifying how consistently he does them and how often he does them, and there are enough flaws, enough inconsistencies there where you need to find value added. You need to find other things that he does that offsets the negatives and still allow him to be a top quarterback prospect and a first-round draft pick.
So here are the comparisons I've been using. I always go back to Michael Vick because of the things that you said. He doesn't have the same cannon that Michael Vick had, but Vick would make some special NFL throws. Lamar Jackson has those in the bag, whether it's red zone, tight area accuracy. We've seen him throw a touch down the field. We've seen him zip the ball into tight windows. He has special NFL throws in the bag. He has special athleticism, so he can create big plays there. But just like Vick, he'll miss a ton of throws. His accuracy, throw for throw, is just not good. So Vick would overthrow guys. He'd be throwing, wrong shoulder on slants and all that stuff, not really maximize yards after the catch opportunities. So you have to know that Jackson has this accuracy limitation right now in his game. There's also a chance that could improve a little bit just because he's so young as a quarterback. But let's say we're going into the NFL with a guy who's just not accurate throw for throw, but he can make special throws here and there, and you can use his athleticism a little bit. I think an offensive coordinator can tap into that skill set and create an offense capable of making big plays in the pass game and with his legs.
Yeah, look, the important thing is to identify what you are comparing when you start drawing parallels with other quarterbacks, whether it's Michael Vick, whether it's Cam Newton, RG3, all these guys that are unconventional NFL quarterbacks that have something different about their game to traditional pocket passers like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. And, Michael Vick, I think, is an interesting comp because of the dynamic athleticism. There are times where it makes a lot of sense, but Michael Vick was all about scrambling. He would take off from the pocket,
right.
He would play sandlot football back there, and he would make things happen with his legs. Lamar Jackson didn't actually do a whole amount of that at Louisville. He had 9,000 yards passing, he had 1,286 yards scrambling, and 3,500 from designed runs. They were using his athleticism as a design part of the running game, more like Cam Newton in Carolina as opposed to Michael Vick. So you can definitely compare him to that, but the key with Lamar Jackson is trying to design an offense that will actually take advantage of his running ability as part of the offense, which will help open up what he can do in the passing game. It'll make things easier because the defense has to worry about him as a running threat and automatically open up some passing lanes and give him easier throws to make, offsetting some of those problems when it comes to accuracy.
Yeah, so you've kind of backed up a lot of the data that we've unlocked in the PFF draft guide and other stuff that we've done behind the scenes. We've gone through and said, okay, does he go through his reads like a traditional quarterback? We did this with the top 10 draft eligible quarterbacks, and actually, yes, he gets through his reads. The second highest in the draft class, he got to a second or third read. So he could sit in the pocket and do that. You're right, he's not just back there scrambling around. And then the part that you said about creating open throws, Louisville did a fantastic job of that. Lamar had the second highest percentage of open throws in the draft class. And while some of the Big 12 quarterbacks, we said, well, that's because they played bad defense. With Lamar, a lot of it was because he's a run threat. And because the run threat and the play action and all the things that you can do creates those open throws. So now if you're creating this open 10-yard throw, it kind of mitigates the fact that maybe it's going to be a little high, a little bit behind. So there's a way to create that production if you use that skill set.
The play action, I think, is the real key there, because when you use a quarterback as a factor in the running game, suddenly the play action game takes on a completely different dimension. And over the past 2 seasons at Louisville, his NFL passer rating when using play action has been over 124. When you go back to 2012 and you look at RG3 within that Washington offense that was kind of built around him, they led the National Football League in passer rating when using play action. It was up at 139.
Wow.
And And that's the key. That's where Lamar Jackson can be a factor in this game. You use him as part of the running game and you open up the play action game, let him exploit those easy passes over the back of defenses.
There's still some risk there, though, because play action can fluctuate a little bit in our numbers. The analytics team's going to yell at us because they hate using play action numbers as far as stability year to year. But I think the thing that makes it more stable, like you said, is RG3 was a run threat that year in 2012 with the Redskins, and Lamar Jackson must be used as a run threat. So we said that there's a path to success, understanding that he's not the most accurate guy, he'll make a few bad decisions, has the NFL throws, has the athleticism. So we're talking about an offense that's going to let him run, but from a design standpoint, right? You know, work that zone read stuff, work all of those design runs, 6, 8, maybe 10 times a game, and everybody's going to bring up the slight builds, but I do think quarterbacks' ability to protect themselves is more important than how big they are.
Yeah.
And I think Lamar, for the most part, is pretty good at knowing when to get down, when to get out of bounds. I feel like that's more important for keeping him healthy. Remember, RG3 was not good at that. Michael Vick was not good at that. They both took way too many hits when they ran around. But you see guys like Russell Wilson, who's just a magician at not taking big hits. Even Colin Kaepernick was really good at not taking big hits. There's a way to do it in the NFL. Lamar will have to be careful there. Use him as a runner, use the play action game, open up those easy throws. You can create an offense around him.
You definitely can. The problem is you do need to create the offense around him, which means the team that he lands with is going to be more important for him than any of these other top quarterback prospects. There are these guys that should be able to fit into pretty much any scheme in the NFL. Whoever Lamar Jackson ends up with is going to have to build an offense around him, and a lot of coaches don't want to do that. So he's going to have to end up in the right situation where a team embraces who he can be and does that, works to design an offense that plays to his strengths.
There was a point in Michael Vick's career where the Falcons, the headline was, Michael Vick is going to be playing in the West Coast offense. And it was like the Joe Montana West Coast offense. Like, we're going 3-step drop, 5-step drop, rhythm passing. You need this precision quarterback to do that. That was not Michael Vick's game. If I read that headline, Sam, I'm out on Lamar. But if I read the headline that says, hey, we're going to build around his skill set, we're going to do everything we can to let this guy succeed, I could see it happening. So do the right thing, NFL. Build around Lamar's skill set. Don't move him to receiver. There's enough to build around, even though there are some question marks with his game. That is Louisville quarterback Lamar Jackson, one of the top quarterback prospects in this draft.